So welcome everybody. My name is Mary Kay Yergos. I'm one of the Passaic County chapter co-chairs. Tonight we're super excited to tie in bilingualism with our beautiful organization. And we have Casa Spanglish with us. We have Kenya Benitez and her counterpart, which will be joining us a little later, presenting to us about their organization and the benefits of bilingualism. Take it away, Kenya.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kenya. Like Mary said, I am director and founder of Casa Spanglish. I work along. Oh, here she is. Perfect timing. I work alongside my co-director, Wendy Fernandez. I am a high school Spanish teacher. This is year 11. I was working in Passaic County. But this is my first year out of Passaic County. Wendy, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Can you hear me just fine?
Yes.
I have this light behind me. I don't know. Yes. So I am a bilingual and ESL teacher. I have been an educator for 18 years, mostly in the public schools. I started my career in the private schools for a few years. And I have, aside from a teacher, I've been a coach, a curriculum designer, an administrator at a dual language program or dual language school. And yeah, I have been wearing many hats for many years. So nice to meet you. I know I just got here, so I'm still like transitioning from life to this presentation, but I do welcome you and thank you for taking the time to be here with us and join us in this conversation that we're about to have.
Yes. Actually, if you guys don't mind, would you be able to either type or share your roles, Rosemary?
Uh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm an ESL teacher at a middle school. I've been there for 8 years as an ESL teacher and as well as a Pathways to College advisor to all different students, ESL and non-ESL. And yeah, that's my role there. And I wear a lot of hats too, just like Wendy. Coach, working with parents, newsletter coordinator, working on various parent events, educating teachers, parents, working on newsletters, and yeah, just trying to advocate for our children.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. I think we have someone just try to.
Yep, I got it. I'll handle the chat. I'll handle all the logistics.
Okay. Hatis, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correct. Hi, Irene.
Hello. Had trouble getting in.
Thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you so much for being here, Irene. It's nice to see you again.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Only one participant can share at a time. Okay. Can you guys see my screen? Okay, cool. All right, so we wanted to share a little bit about who we are and what Casa Spanglish means to us. We are a bilingual educational company. And just like I was laughing when Rosemary was sharing, because I'm like, yep, it's about the parents, it's about the families, it's about educators and the community at large, definitely. And we seek to celebrate bilingualism and not see it as two separate languages that our kids may know or our families may know, but rather one or the merge of the two, right? The idea of both of those living together.
Yes, I think also it's really important of the Spanglish in itself, and the idea of the Latino or Hispanic living in the U.S. and the kind of language that the kind of English and Spanish, like this combination of Spanglish that we use and how we function, and how that reflects our cultural practices here in the U.S. and how the children of our of that mix in our generation grow up living in those spaces where everything is mixed, and there's no like clear boundaries in many ways, right? The language is very fluid, the language is very interactive, and it responds to our own practices. Right, who's controlling what? Okay, here.
We wanted to go over some of the benefits, which you guys are the experts in the classroom. I mean, we know that we're preaching to the choir, but these are some of the benefits that we know of bilingualism. So it makes executive functioning skills stronger, can increase math and reading performance, makes people better at multitasking, which I feel like is a common trend here in this group. And it increases earning potential, job opportunities. And we're going to talk a little bit about how that is shifting. And it's not just a plus, but rather a necessity. And it can prevent negative effects of disease and brain injury.
Yes, so lots of benefits. So we don't, or we want to hold on to our bilingualism for many reasons, for those benefits, but also because of the connections with or the generational connections, I should say, that come from the language, which is it's a big part of our culture and shaping who we are and shaping the new generation and the kids that are following.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
For a second, I couldn't.
I hear you, Wendy.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So just some another way of looking at the benefits, right? Just a little chart there for you, because we all, like I said, love charts. The next slide is mostly, so when Kenny and I started working on this presentation, I think that we started with the benefits of bilingualism, but we know, like the ones that the people that are present here know how important it is to maintain our bilingualism, our connection to our roots, and nourish that.
Yeah, and pass it on to our children.
Yeah. So in a way, since we know that, we wanted to open up our discussion to a broader sense, because we wanted to focus on the next slide, which says the state of bilingualism. There is so much that is shifting, so many things that are being redefined and relocated for our careers and profession, maybe not even profession anymore. So if you follow up, the latest. So we wanted to give space to talk about that and what can we do? How can we respond? How can we support each other, most importantly? And I remember a few people in the beginning when Kenny and I started with Casa Spanglish. Some of the questions that I got were, "Are you sure you want to do this right now?"
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't seem like this is the right
It's the
moment
right
for
time
you to be celebrating Latinidad and bilingualism and multilingualism and then, all of this. Do really? Like, this is what you want to do? And then I feel like this is yes, this is when we want to do it.
We have found that it's been the perfect time. It's been the perfect moment.
When everything is pushing against who we are and what we are, that's when you hold on to it the most. And it is also an act of resistance in a way. I don't think resistance is a bad word, or I don't think that we have to think about it just as opposition or as fighting.
Yeah, no.
Resistance is also holding on to the things that you think are dear and near to you and to your heart. And this is our culture, our language is what's dear and near to us. So yes, we're holding on to it in this moment more than ever.
Especially as generations change, right? Like Wendy and I often discuss, our having kids and, our kids growing up in different times and our kids never having to translate for our parents or for us, right? Like perhaps we had to do, like I had to translate for my grandparents when I was a child. And as the generations go on, it changes, right? Like the need, like I needed to speak Spanish to talk to my family. My kids technically could speak to my parents in English or Spanish, so it's no longer a need. So holding on to that language and also passing it down, I don't want to say has gotten harder, but it's just changed, right? Like it's different. The dynamic is different. And also our language itself has changed, right? Like in Spanish is the official language of 21 countries, but in the United States itself, as Wendy kind of prefaced before, we have created our own version of Spanish in the United States, right? Regardless of how fluent you are, or where you come from, or where you grew up, it's very normal here to have adopted so many words from English and made them our own, right? Like we say all the time, los jeans. We say el closet. Like, yeah, I know the word is armario, and I know that in Cuba we say escaparate. Don't ask me where they got that word from. But los jeans has and el closet and el jaque have been adopted, and our language has changed. And also because there are so many people from so many different places, there are a lot of words that we've used as a neutralizer, right? Like in the Caribbean, we actually don't say tostones like maybe Puerto Ricans and Dominicans do. We do in the United States, but we actually call them tachinos in Cuba. They're called tachinos. But we use those terms because we've learned to grow with these neighbors and grow with these people around us. And like we all want to understand each other. Wendy, I would love if she would use her voceo with me all the time because I love hearing voz. But again, she's so used to talking to so many people from different countries that don't use voz. So she kind of, neutralizes it sometimes. And when she does, I think she's amazing. When she uses it, I'm like, oh my God. I tell everybody. So anyway,
it comes out sometimes. Yeah.
I love it. So I say all that to say that our generations are changing. The way we pass language down is changing. And like Wendy said, our main goal is to preserve that, to be able to hold on to the concepts and the things that we find dearest to our hearts and be able to pass that down to our kids, even if their world does look different and even if their language needs change. So here we go, because I could talk about this forever.
Yes. I should have a sign, like if I touch my hair.
Next.
So yes, the world is changing, right? And then that's our outline. We're going to talk a little bit about the current state of bilingualism in the U.S., touch a little bit about on that same topic, but throughout the world, trends and shifts, and how do we compare, so that we can learn a little bit about what that looks like everywhere, and are we really up against the current, or is there hope? And then what does that look like for us, and how do we support each other? What kind of resources are out there? And just so you don't hate me later, yes, we are going to talk about AI because that is part of the world changing, especially changing the language learning piece. So a lot of our job, right? And then a little bit more about Casa, if you may? Let's take a look at this fun slide over here. The most spoken language, besides English and Spanish, because we all know that Spanish is the one that, I don't know if we can make that bigger or not, but the Spanish is the one that it's spoken the most as the second language, and also the one that people want to learn the most.
Yeah.
So whenever they want to take a second language, it's usually Spanish. So it was interesting to find that in New Jersey, Portuguese follows up, and Kenya is a Portuguese aficionado. She loves to like drop words in Portuguese all the time. That's a fun one. I think Gujarati at some point also, I saw it in one of the charts. That was a big one in New Jersey. We know that we have a big community, a big Indian community. I know in our district, I work for
Yeah.
Passaic now. It's really big. So it's just, I just love seeing this, because we don't always think about other languages as being also
so present.
Absolutely, throughout the US.
So these are the most popular second languages in the US. These are just some data points that you guys can look at a little closer. Spanish, Mandarin in the lead. But Wendy's right. Portuguese is really up there too. Hindi, Arabic, French, German, Russian.
What a beautiful mix. So that's just so that we got a little peek at what's happening. Our second point, it's about shifts, and I think this is we learned something in this process as well.
Yeah.
In terms of how are we looking? We know already that there's a big mix of languages in the US, although now we have an official language, but nonetheless, let's see where that's going to take us. Look at that first point that Kenny found.
So bilingualism is becoming more of a global necessity today, like I mentioned before, rather than us looking at it as just like a bonus skill or an extra that we have, an extra oomph. Like now it's really a necessity. Apps, online tutors, and AI make bilingualism a lot more accessible. Multilingualism a lot more accessible. I know my students are absolutely obsessed with Duolingo. I actually offer the opportunity for them to, like as a brain break, to try another language besides Spanish, especially for my native speakers. I'm like, go, try Italian, try Russian, try German, try something else, because they have the access to it, right? Like, can we imagine, if our parents had something other than Inglés sin barreras, I don't know if you guys remember Inglés sin barreras. Uh, but we have it at our fingertips, right? And social media has also, while it has its negative side, it has a lot of good in that you're able to have this access, right? It's normalized a lot of bilingual content. Follow us on TikTok. But we see so many creators like so excited to share something about their culture, or something about the language they're learning, something about perhaps living abroad, and in another country, and having to learn that language. And that's just so much more like that. We have it at our fingertips. We thought it was really interesting to see these states have the highest number of monthly searches for language per 100,000 people. I thought New Jersey would be a little higher, but at least we made it to top 10.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, New York takes the lead always in many things. I think the social media part is very interesting in how that is shifting.
Yeah.
How the world is interacting with the different languages. I know that I have I have friends back in my country that are now posting things in English, and I'm like, I know, like I'm proud that you're doing this now, because I know that you are not an English learner. Like, you're not, they weren't, I guess, when I was there, and now everyone is really comfortable with using English everywhere. It's just it's so much more accessible,
Yeah.
and more that makes it more popular, I think. Right. So much so that half of the population is bilingual. I mean, that's a huge statistic, I think,
Yeah.
to know that that many people in the world know
More
at
than
least
one language.
at least a
Yeah.
second language. Yeah, that's huge, and that says that makes it very competitive, right? So that's where the need comes from, and not just, now it's like, you don't know a second language. Oh wow, so that's one out of every two people.
Yeah.
If you don't know a second language, then what are you doing with your life? I feel like that's now the mix of what that would be is different, and we know that so many people speak more than one, right?
Yeah.
But at the least, like, I feel like this is a really important number.
If I make this smaller, okay. So educational systems and bilingualism worldwide. I feel like Wendy and I went back and forth talking about how like different it is here. Like, yes, we have programs and access and some support, but it really depends on what state you're in, or where you're located. Whereas, like, I picture, someone in the middle of Miami, it's like a need to speak Spanish. Whereas in other countries, like, it's a requirement to learn at least a foreign language. I know Finland is super big on it. I think most of their, even in elementary, they're learning 2, 3 languages at one time. So we wanted to include this statistic so you could take a look at different parts of the world. So Europe, Asia. So in countries like India and Singapore, bilingualism is built into education due to its linguistic diversity, right? We know there are so many varieties and languages. Africa, multilingualism is common, but often under-resourced in education systems.
Rosemary, do you want to, I saw your comment in the chat. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Please.
I think you said something about the issue is mastering one language, and that's an interesting idea about mastering a language. I want to hear
Yeah,
about that.
well, I don't know. Because we have students that, yes, they are bilingual, however, they're not fluent in Spanish, or they're not 100% fluent in English. We give them these word-to-word dictionaries for exams, and many teachers believe that that's I don't know, that's the only solution or one of the solutions, but they may not know the word in their language. It depends on the student's level. So I think that's the challenge, is when they're younger, in kindergarten, elementary school, maybe it's easier to navigate between the two languages and master the two languages. But when they come here from another country in middle school, then that's the challenge. And even if they were born here, English is not discussed in their home. So then they're in these schools and they're having a lot of issues and problems navigating academic English, not conversational, because I think 9 out of 10 times kids that are born here are conversation. They know conversation. Hi, bye, regular conversation. And again, that's a misnomer for many teachers. Oh, he or she knows English. I hear them speaking English, but it's not academic English. And that's why we're teachers, and that's why we're in school, and that's what we're learning. And so that's the challenge, is understanding the fluidity of the both languages, but mastering. So having the technique, subject verb agreement in Spanish and English. So that's what I run into a lot of. I don't know if
Yeah,
anybody else
we do
does.
too.
Yeah.
Wendy and I talk about this often because being a Spanish teacher, I have the same, like they'll throw kids at me and it's like they're native. And I'm like, the child may not have the vocabulary in either language. So they're kind of in limbo. We're seeing more and more of that. So I hear you.
I think the situation with academic language is not particularly a second language or language learner issue, if you
Yeah.
want to use that word. I think it's a matter, as we know, of exposure to vocabulary in early language when they are growing up in their basis on in that.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily a language learning problem. It's the fact that they don't have that foundational vocabulary that comes from the youth and people talking to them and people reading to them.
Reading
So
is
there's very little
Yes.
transfer in terms
Transfer.
of vocabulary, knowledge, and skills that they're bringing to the table. So I think it's more of that. And when it comes to, I'm gonna say probably something controversial. I don't know. When it comes to language learning, I think the school is a problem. The schools are the issue because you cannot box people into that. That's why when you said mastering, that caught my attention, because at the end of the day, I'm still a language learner.
Yeah.
We are language learners for life. And I don't think there's anyone out there that knows every single word. So there's a lot of people that know a lot of words and that have, a very good basis of their own first language. But we are all language learners, even first language speakers.
Or maybe I want to say more fluent.
Yes.
Maybe not mastering, because yes, we're all still learning, we're mastering, we're reading, we're improving, we're revising. Maybe I want to say more fluent in one language versus the other.
Yeah.
They're not fluent
It
in
would be
Spanish and they're not fluent in English. And
right.
so in my case, in middle school, I feel like all the burden is on the ESL teacher, not only to teach them academic English, but navigate the newcomers and explaining information in Spanish and then correlate going back to English. It's
a
taxing.
lot.
And also I mean, I love our general education teachers, but we do need more support. We need them to do a little bit more of modifying, of looking at the WIDA levels. This is not just an ESL teacher's responsibility. There's everybody's responsibility.
Yes, we're all
So
That's a great point, Wendy.
we are
I
all
remember
language.
one of the last presentations we did when we worked together in the same school in Passaic, was on that, and the math and science and English teachers were like, "Wida, what are you talking about?" And it's like, it's no, I'm not saying it's anyone's fault, but rather you only know as
I'm
much as
saying
you
it's
know.
school's fault.
It's
I'm
a la-
absolutely
yeah,
saying it is because
it's a lack of training. It's a
ab-
lack of training, preparation, and support. 100%.
the expectations are absolutely unrealistic as well. Because yes, what we want more in the term is balanced bilinguals. We
Yeah.
want balanced bilinguals, whichever way that looks like. Because in
Mhm.
that balance, that doesn't mean that on our scale we're going to have English here and language here. We may have a little bit of both. So in that balance, and we'll find that mix. Now, the problem comes in my opinion, my humble opinion, is in the restrictions that the schools put when it comes to using both languages. That's what I mean when I say they box them, right? Because if you let them use all of their knowledge, we know if they can translanguage and use all of their resources to communicate in any classroom, whether it's math, language arts, science, any classroom, and they're using all the resources that they have in their brain and in their computers, they will grow better. They will grow faster. They will become balanced bilinguals quicker. You'll see the results concretely. But because we're telling them you cannot use your language in this classroom, you cannot use anything other than this 100-year-old dictionary, or you cannot ask questions, or you cannot write this paragraph in both languages. We're restricting them. We're restricting their actual natural practices as language learners. So therefore, we are in a way in their way when it comes to learning. And then on top of that, we're not supporting them in the way that they need to be supported throughout the entire day. They are not just language learners when they come to ESL class or when I am present in one of their classes. They are language learners the entire day. And they therefore need that support and the ability to use those resources the entire day. So yes, the system, it's the problem for them. In it's my thought, my 2 cents. Right?
Yeah, and I agree with you, Wendy. And it is exhausting. I know that the general education teachers are exhausted, but we as ESL teachers are exhausted as well. I just feel like maybe administration needs to come together and incorporate intentional sit down with each teacher and let's look at the lesson plan and let's see how our ESL teachers can modify that lesson and help that teacher, because I think all of our teachers want to help, but we need intentional guidance and direction from administration, and not just, oh, give me 2 minutes in the hallway, 5 minutes in the cafeteria. That doesn't work for anyone. I know everything is about immediate gratification, but even my student, she's like, I want to learn English. I want to learn English. It takes time. We cannot pour a bottle of verbs, adjectives, everything in 1 minute and you learn everything. We need to know how to take time, reflect, read, do at home, read to your mother, your father, bring that information to school. We need everyone's help. Like the saying goes, it does take a village. We need everybody. I mean, we can't just do it
everyone
ourselves.
to add so that they can continue to build.
So let's go to.
We're actually going to talk about that a little later too. So this is great. Thank you so much for sharing.
I'm sorry. I'm just very emotional.
We want it to be a conversation. Like, we're not here to teach you anything because you guys are the experts. Like I tell Wendy, I'm like, you guys are in the trench. Like, we're all in the trenches. Like, we know exactly what it is. So thank you, honestly. We wanted to share, these are the largest bilingual countries, or some of the largest. Finland, 93% of their population is bilingual. Indonesia, 75%, Paraguay, 70%, and Canada, 35%. These are just some. There are a few others, and we have the sources linked to share with you guys later on.
I thought Canada was a surprise. Like, to me Canada was a surprise because Canada has such good research and programs when it comes to dual language. A lot of the research that we use in the US for dual language programs comes from the Canadian schools. So it was a little surprising to me that it was just 35%, but hey. And it was surprised too that Paraguay is 70%. And I love facts and statistics. So this is like, it was like, wow, how did I not, how did I not?
I know, this is amazing.
But look at the composition though. Paraguay's official language are Spanish and Guarani. So they're also taking that into consideration, right? It's not just your just Spanish or your traditional,
or just English.
Talking about indigenous languages at that point.
Yeah.
Which is another topic for our schools, because some of our kids come with their indigenous language to school and they don't speak Spanish or English. They're learning English, but they're also learning Spanish because what they speak is different from that. All right, so what do we do with all of this? What are we going to do? The reality is that in the US bilingual rates, about 22% of Americans over the age of 5 speak a language other than English at home, right? So we know Latinos, Hispanics are about 20% of the population now, but a lot of us do speak English Now, with that many people speaking another language at home, our reality, we see it. Our reality is a complex one because it involves um, various levels of proficiency in the language, not just in the second language, but in their native language as well. Various levels of proficiency, um, and various levels of personality, of that willingness, of that grit that is also needed in order to experiment with the second language. So that makes our job even more challenging. All right.
And we also thought it was really interesting that other countries are really pushing those second, third, fourth languages as something just normal, necessary, something to be proud about. Whereas here, it's like we are definitely attempting to speak that second language in many cases to preserve that culture and that identity, right? And in some cases, it's more here in the United States, it's more linked to immigration and community living. Some of the challenges, which we already started talking about, so this is great, is less than 1/3 of new teachers have received any level of training on how to support multilingual learners, which when I read this, I just could not believe it. Like, I was like, really? Like, this is it? Only about half of the states require specific qualifications or pre-service training on teaching multilingual learners for general education teachers. So definitely goes back to what Rosemary brought up. And a U.S. Department of Education policy brief finds that less than 14% of pre-K through 12th grade teachers speak a language other than English at home, while more than 20% of the students do. So we can definitely see the discrepancy or the difference between what students we have before us and what the teachers, or who are the teachers that we have before them, right? So it's
sometimes
very
in
different.
our districts, especially our urban districts, we don't see that discrepancy.
Yeah.
So we tend to think that, because we see what's in front of us, we tend to think that that is the case for many of them, that they actually do have a model or they do see themselves in the people that are leading them, the people that are in front of them, and that's not necessarily the case for many of them, right? I see books all the time about different cultures and different characters, but even though they are out there and those books are out there, and yes, kids can see themselves in those books, we don't know if they're getting into them, if they're getting into the hands of the kids at some point. We know they're available. We know that districts can buy them, districts can provide them, they exist. Now more than ever, there's a whole bunch of companies now that are really focused on publishing books that are culturally rich, but we don't know if they're actually making it to the classrooms. And so where are these kids, how are we bridging that gap, right? Where are these kids seeing their role models? Where are they seeing themselves in the people that have the power or are in front of them? So I think that was a very this is a very powerful slide in that sense. Okay, but another wrench that has been thrown at us, I feel like lately in the last few years, is AI. And I wanted to get your thoughts on this, but I feel like there's differing thoughts in when it comes to this. And some people see it as an asset, some people see it as a competition, even. So I wanted to get your thoughts. This slide, it portrays it a little bit as a positive thing. It says it makes the process more reachable, more efficient, and enjoyable than ever before. And we talked about the power of social media and how that's bringing even English to many communities, even communities that I didn't think that would adopt it. They're using a lot of English words now, and that's changing the language back at home as well. And that it's having an effect on that. So I wanted to get your thoughts on what do you think, or what is AI doing for your kids? What is it doing in your classrooms at the moment? And have you seen this aspect of this positive aspect, or has it actually um, hindered or in any way damaged the natural process that kids go through when they're learning a new language?
I can
I
share,
guess I think,
Wendy.
oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Rosemary.
I'm sorry.
So
Go ahead.
yesterday I was on Instagram and it said something about how, using, like, for example, ChatGPT is like taking the elevator instead of taking the stairs, right? And that really made me reflect on the usage in the classroom, because I'm going to be honest, I pay the $20 a month for ChatGPT. Like,
Amazing.
it has changed, it has transformed my life, okay?
Yep.
It has taken, really, like, I work in a district where there's very little resources for multilingual learners, right? And I came from a district where I was a dual language teacher, and it was like a plethora of English and Spanish, materials. So using AI now has really helped me bridge the gap in the classroom when it comes to teaching the necessary skills on how to acquire the language for the students. Like, I can say, give me a list of cognates, and it will give me a list of cognates, and we talk about it and we bring it to life. So I think it's a benefit in my classroom. That's my take.
Okay. Anyone else? No? I feel like that is just from the teacher side. I think it's
Yeah.
that perspective is valuable. Definitely it cuts down on time, right? It does make, like the slide says, it does make it more efficient for us. Um I'm wondering what it does, and because I have read articles as well about how it actually it- when it comes to the struggle, right, that productive struggle that it's needed for growth, how because we're not practicing those skills, we're losing, right? Because it's
Yeah.
it's part of that muscle that the kids need to practice certain skills in order to acquire them and make them their own. So I think for us as adults, because we have those skills already, we know what we're
Yeah.
looking for and we know how to use it. When it comes to the kids, though, that kid size, when they're just, or that kid side, when they're just translating,
Yeah.
then I feel like that's when it gets a little tricky, because, like the old saying goes, there's a lot lost in translation. Translation is, it's not interpretation. And that's
Exactly.
where we come in. And even though it's translated, they still have questions because they're not interpreting the cultural aspects and the nuances that come with a lot of the words and a lot of the background knowledge that they lack. So, yes, I think it's very powerful for them to be able to use, especially if they're going to fail because they didn't, turn in an assignment. By all means, do that. Like, that's what I mean by, like, this. Let's not stop them. Use it, but then we need to be very careful and intentional in pushing their first language then, because if we're not going to push them in English because they have to produce, and the school system is a lot about producing,
Yeah.
then we have to push them in their native language. And then we need to let them have those discussions in the classroom in any language that it's comfortable for them. And sometimes you see, as they become more balanced bilinguals, they start their arguments and their conversations in Spanish, and then all of a sudden they're like, I don't even know how to say that in English, in Spanish. Let me just switch and I'll say it in English because I learned it in English first. And then they flow from one language to the other. And that aspect of that humanity of us having those discussions with them, then it balances out, in my opinion, the use of AI and all these apps and all of these things that are in front of them. And I don't know if you're in school districts, but in my school district, they are in front of a computer the 8 hours that they're there. Like, that's where life happens for them. So then having those breaks away from that is very important in throughout the day, because their curriculum is pretty much online.
Yeah, and that's why I really want to step away from always looking at the computer and always using it as a tool, because honestly, that doesn't really, I mean, it does help with speaking, but they need natural language. We need to look at each other. We need to have conversation. We need to do face-to-face speaking. And so that's what I think it's lacking. But even sometimes with my own lessons, so I'm trying to intentionally do like 5, 10 minutes. Let's do the cognates. Let's talk about this in English. Let's talk about it in Spanish. How was your weekend? Maybe, a little deviation from the lesson plan. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay. The kids actually love it. They get
Mm-hmm.
to use the language and they get to talk about their own personal life for 5 or 10 minutes. And then hopefully they will get a buy-in and they can just refocus and we can start the lesson, because it's very repetitive.
Mm-hmm.
Class to class, subject to subject,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
same thing, the do now, the teacher planning. They need a little step away from that, honestly. And
Today,
myself as a teacher, I love to step away from that. I
Yeah.
feel like it's a breath of fresh air to actually have like personal one-to-one conversation about, I don't know, about your day or about the weather or about Thanksgiving is coming up. What do we do at our families' homes? I mean, I feel like you can learn language and you can produce language when it's not always listed on the lesson plan. Like we
That's right.
need to have like natural conversation happening also. That helps our students.
Definitely, that's part of that balance, right? And that humanity that we bring in, and that's not going to be replaceable. So I feel like that in a way, I'm not threatened by it, because I know that that is still needed more than ever. It's going to be needed more than ever because it's everywhere. And we're going to need those breaks and we're going to need those conversations, and that, you know what, sit down. Some changes that I have implemented, a small change, and it kills them. Like, they don't know what to do with themselves. I slow down.
Oh, yeah.
I am slowing
They don't know how to sit in
down.
quiet.
We are reading one page, and this is what we're doing. We're going to look at the vocabulary first. Then we're going to read. Then and everybody has a role, and you have to perform your role. Like, what questions are you going to ask? Let's stare at this page longer. They don't know how to do that because AI is right there for them, and everything. Life happens in seconds right now. So slowing down is so much harder for them, right?
Yeah, I think it's part of also like how fast our society moves. Which, AI is part of it, but I always tell them like AI is a tool, but it can't think for you. And like Wendy said, like they still need us. Like, and I just think it happens so fast and they're so used to like instant gratification that when you slow down, they're like, what is going on? Today, one class, they were like, Miss, I'm over it. I'm exhausted. Like my brain, I like, can we please play Tutti Frutti? Tutti Frutti is like a categories game that I play with them. And I was like, you know what? Yes, let's do it. Like if you guys are all in, let's do it. And we played the entire period and they had the best day today. And they were like, I'm gonna do my homework from yesterday that I didn't do, and I'm gonna, and like sometimes they do need that brain break. And again, something so simple like categories in Spanish, they're still learning language, right? Like they still sat there and had to think, and they were like, oh my God, I can't believe I don't know an animal in Spanish that starts with an E. And while yes, they have AI and they could have looked something up, they still need that human interaction, right? I don't think that we're gonna necessarily be replaced by AI. I think it's a powerful tool. It's currently my favorite colleague, and
It's very
And
supportive, yeah.
I think that we also have to teach them how to use it responsibly and to use it. They still need critical thinking skills, right? To be able to prompt it to get to where they want to be. A lot of kids are just like, oh, write an essay about Hispanic Heritage Month. And it's like, all right, well, you didn't really think much, and neither did ChatGPT. They're going to give you some generic answer, right? So I think the teaching them how to prompt it to things. In my AP class, I would say, like, put in your essay, copy in your rubric, and have it analyze your answer. What were you missing? What did you do well? Right? Like, use it backwards. Use it so that you can learn what was missing, what you did well, what you can do next time, versus have it just write your essay and then you didn't get anything from it. And then the day of the test, you're like, I don't know how to do this. So yeah, any other comments on AI? Anybody else?
Well, we have another slide, and there's a few on these.
Okay.
Yeah. So we talked about AI's role in language learning, specifically language learning landscape. I like the personalized learning trajectories. I feel like that is a good one because if we're going to use it in any way, this is the way that I like it, because we can't be everywhere at the same time, and classes keep getting bigger and needs keep getting bigger, and we don't have the bandwidth sometimes to do that. Adaptive, and because we have so many different levels in one classroom, real-time feedback. They need real-time feedback because that's how they can make changes, immediate changes, especially in writing. I find that it's really good. And it's an accessibility issue as well, right? So there is recently we were writing an essay, and I wanted everybody to use AI to write the essay, but I had them registered for something called School AI, and I get to create not just the assignment, but it's called the space. I get to create a space for them, and I tell the bot how to help them in that space. So I told the bot, they have to write a 5-paragraph essay on this. I want you to ask them to type 1 paragraph at a time, and I want you to give them feedback on these things 1 paragraph at a time so they can start revising and editing what they already have. So you are not going to do anything but ask them questions and help them revise and edit their paragraphs. And they log into that space, and the bot starts chatting with them, and he tells them, okay, so I know you have to write an essay. Let me see it. Write your introduction. Type your introduction here. And then the kid types the introduction. They're like, oh, that's great, but you're missing, you only have 2 reasons in your thesis statement. Now add another reason so that you don't have transitions. Add some transitions. And it talks to them. It's a conversation. And then they start making their essays better. So they're not just telling it, give me this. It's the bot asking them for things. So that's how I like it for personalized learning.
Yeah.
I think that space is good. Obviously, is blocked in our district because why wouldn't it be? But we found a way around it, and they were able to use it. It is free for teachers. School AI is free, so you just search School AI, and you create an account. You create a space, a classroom. There are spaces already created there for you that you can use. But sometimes instead of like going through all of that stuff and looking at it, I just create one, because then I can I can target it specifically to what I need. And you get a code, and the kids go into School AI, they create their own account, and with the code, they join your space. And that's it. That's all it is.
It's an awesome tool.
Mm-hmm. Language educators in AI. Mm-hmm. Okay. You want to talk about this?
So this is a little bit about what Wendy was talking about. It's more like we're shifting from content transmitters to facilitators of critical thinking, right? It's kind of what we've been talking about. Helping them think about what they're doing and what they need, or what feedback they need from AI, for instance, right? And it's not just, well, like we said, it's not just throwing the information at it, but actually thinking about what prompt they need to come up with and what is their goal, right? What do they need to get? I feel like we went over this. This is an awesome graphic because Wendy's the graphic queen, of 50 AI tools for teachers. So again, we're going to share this with you guys. I've used some of them. I still feel like nothing beats ChatGPT. ChatGPT is my definitely my favorite colleague. But there are some really awesome things out there. Magic School, I personally don't love, but I do like if you want to use, for instance, you have a cool video. It's really good at you just dropping the link of the YouTube video and it giving you like comprehension questions or analysis questions based on the video. So like Wendy said, it really just like it cuts down our prep time because as you know, like time is of the essence and it's usually what we don't have. So definitely check some of these out. Wendy, do you have a favorite from here or something you really like besides chat?
I don't care for Magic School or whatever what's it called?
Yeah.
Magic School.
Yeah, Magic School,
I,
yeah.
I really don't care for it. I don't think it's that great. I think it lists a whole bunch of things, but it's a whole bunch of nothing. To be honest, I don't like what I get back from it. I like ChatGPT, yes, but I also like School AI. I have the link. I'm gonna put it in the chat. School AI, I
Awesome.
find that it's really good. And then recently, I learned about a new one that creates slides for you. So you tell it,
Oh,
yeah, you tell it, I need to teach, I don't know, pronouns. And then to this class and this class, you give it the information and then it creates the presentation for you.
which one's that? Drop it right now. Share
Uh,
all the secrets.
I'm gonna.
ChatGPT also does that. If you link it to your Canva, it will create a whole
Oh,
slideshow for you.
but you have to pay for it, right?
No, it's
No?
oh yeah, it's a paid version.
Yeah, yeah.
It
So
is a paid version.
what I've heard about that is that um, it doesn't it doesn't create it. It gives you what's already in there,
Canva.
like what's already been done. It kind of like looks for it and gives you something, but it doesn't actually. It's not new. Like it doesn't create it when it's linked to Canva. That's what I've learned.
I'll
I will
test it
say
out, Wendy. I'll play around with it and
I will
let you
say
know.
Yeah, let me know. That's what I have.
Wayground is good too. Wayground used to be the old Quizzes. I'm sure you guys have heard of Quizzes. So they revamped and Wayground is like amazing. Um, it's quizzes like, you know, on steroids. Like I really, really like it. Especially for like homework assignments and like to personalize the modifications that I can make. I love because some of my students, I know that they could probably answer the questions if they hear the question, but when they read it, you know, they struggle. So it's really cool. It has a whole bunch of you know, adjustments and modifications that you can make, accommodations per student. So I love, I mean, I've always used Quizzes, but now it's Wayground and it's super fancy. I like it. And it's very user friendly. Like you don't need, you know, a degree to use it. Like it's because some of these websites I'm like, where do I start?
And also, I just wanted to say, Canva AI is a great tool because you can insert the WIDA levels for each of your student, and you could also say, create a subject-verb agreement lesson assessment, and it gives you specific assessments on the student's level. So I like that one too.
That's a good
That's
one.
awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Tell you,
I
teachers
put
have all the secrets. What we don't have is time to get together to share them.
yeah. So I put it in the chat, and I'm gonna put the slide one now. That this one is called Chalky.
Oh.
Yeah. So I have School AI and Chalky in there.
You know what? I clicked on School AI and I don't know what happened. What happened there? Something didn't work, I guess. I don't know.
Huh.
Let me see.
Drop a different.
It says this page isn't working. That's what it
Ooh,
said.
I just copied and pasted. Okay, let me do another try. Can we move to talk a little bit about our baby?
Oh, chalky.
Yes, so just want to let you guys know we included some resources. Just circling back to our challenges, right, and our struggles with not having enough support or teachers not having enough training when it comes to our multilingual learners. So that'll be there for you guys. And then some myths about bilingualism we included. I'll go over them super quick. So myth number one, bilingualism confuses children. As a twin toddler mom, I heard this a lot. And we know it's not true. Myth number two, adults can't learn new languages well. I think that it's a misconception because after the age of 12, you might have a thicker accent when learning a new language. But it doesn't mean you can't. And myth number three, bilingualism is only useful for travel. We know that's definitely not true, right? We wanted to share some of our projects, our proyectos. When Wendy tells you that we wear a lot of hats, our hats are falling apart. Like we're stitching them together because it's just so many of them. So one of our babies has been creating our cultural books, coloring books and picture books. We're working on doing the ABCs for every Spanish-speaking country. So Wendy wrote the one for Honduras. So they are words that are unique to Honduras and that do not have an English translation. And then I did the same for Cuba. We're working on Peru, Argentina, Colombia right now. We also the first book we published was called Scene Translation. So words that do not have a direct translation from Spanish to English. And we have that picture book and the coloring book version. And it's an amazing resource, I feel like, for the classroom. A lot of teachers have been interested in incorporating it in the class because of, the authentic culture piece, right? Like being able to teach something that's not in the textbook and it's not just grammar, but it really carries a lot of meaning, a lot of culture. And so yeah, Scene Translation was our first baby. We have a TPT store with teacher resources. You can actually download Tutti Frutti, this categories game. You can download it there for free. We are working towards our Casitas Immersion Summer Camp. We have bilingual merch that we're very proud about and we really, really love.
Sorry to interrupt. Can you drop that Teachers Pay Teachers thing that you just said?
Sure. So if you go to our, here, let me go to the next slide. If you actually go to our website, casaspanglish.org, or our Instagram at Casa Spanglish, it's linked.
Casa Spanglish.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find the, or Wendy, do you want to find it? Because I think if I go, I'm the one sharing the screen. I don't know what'll happen.
Find what?
The TPT.
Okay.
Because it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to find free Teachers Pay Teachers, like really good, credible and helpful stuff on TPT. You always have to pay. I mean, I pay. I'll buy whatever, but if it's free, that would be nice also.
Yes, free
Yeah,
99 is nice.
Yeah.
Of course. And it's part of supporting each other, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we are working on more
Free resources that we can post.
that we can put there. So it's just, we need an assistant, but
Yeah, we need an assistant. We are the assistant, the director,
Yes.
the designer.
Can I have an assistant also over here?
me as assistant and she's my assistant.
For my personal and educational life.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah.
If you guys have any questions, please drop it in the chat or please just unmute yourselves. We thank you guys for being here today, and we hope that you enjoyed this conversation. And please feel free to follow us, send us an email. If there's anything that we can share with you, we will. So yeah, Mary, any questions?
I'm just in awe at the work that you ladies are doing and how passionate you are about, bilingualism and biliteracy. Um, And I can't wait to see the fruits of your labor. I already see so many big things happening for Casa Spanglish, so I'm super excited for you ladies. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much for presenting for the Passaic County chapter today. I definitely see a relationship of presentations happening because there's so many things that from this presentation, right? This was kind of like a great overview or overlay, right?
Yeah.
But there's so many more things that I want to, unpack that there's just not enough time to do. Um, so definitely want to touch base with you ladies about further presentations if possible.
Of course.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much for inviting us. I mean, we had to cut down because you know how we get, we just have so much to say in so little time.
I have a quick question. Do you ladies participate in parent organizations, meetings as well? Like I don't know, 15 minutes? Because every quarter or so we have to give presentations to parents, and we always do it, our teachers, but it would be great for an outside source to come in to also communicate this vital information to the
Yeah.
parents so they can become educated, and they could also fight for their students and advocate for their students, because I feel like all the pressures on the ESL teacher, and I really wish that the parents can know more of what they can say directly to the administrator. So
Yeah.
it would be great to have that support from you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Invite us. We'll come. I mean,
Yeah.
great. And
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
working on a free resource that
Yeah.
it's just turning into this massive thing because I also before Casa, I was really working with parents and making sure that they're educated not just in their rights, but also in specifically in terms of the educational system in the U.S.
Yeah. Mhm.
So we're putting together we have this vision of a whole PDF that's going to be free, and we're going to distribute it to school districts, to teachers, and it's going to be like your manual to the school system in the US.
Yeah. So
Because a lot
understanding.
of them do not know how this functions. They don't know what credits for college mean. They don't know what
And
being a
AP
multilingual
classes.
learner means. They don't know what an IEP is. They don't know so many things, and you only know what you know. And you can only fight for what you understand and what you know, right?
Yeah.
So because there's a lot of information missing there, and the school system doesn't function as the one in our Latin American countries, we need to educate them first on what that looks like and what all of those terms mean.
Yes, yes.
So we want to
With others people like yourself that are bilingual speakers, because we
correct.
do have bilingual speakers, but not all of them are ESL teachers. So we definitely having that support from colleagues like yourselves would be a tremendous help, honestly.
Yeah. Please send
And
us an
thank
email.
you. I will send you an email, and thank you so much, ladies. It's a fight. Keep working. I'm gonna keep working. I love what I do. It's a lot of work. I work in the, like you do, at night, over the
Yeah.
weekends. But you know what? I want our children to succeed. And I just had some great news. I just um met one of my students at a function, and she's going to be an ultrasound tech. So I had her as a fourth grade ESL student, and see, now she's going to graduate high school, and she's working on getting her ultrasound tech certification. So I'm so happy for her, and that's what we do it for. And I want her to come and speak to the parents and the students to see that all the work is worth it, because at the end, that's what you're gonna benefit from that. So
We are not changing everyone's world, but we are changing the world, ladies. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
yes,
We
and I
are.
always say one student at a time.
Yep.
It helps because that one student helps others, and they're a role model, so it keeps the chain reaction keeps going.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Kenya. And let's hopefully continue the conversation. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night, everyone.